Hey guys, welcome back to another episode in prep. One day post-show, it's the day after the show, which was yesterday. I'm going to do like a full update later in the video, or at the end, so you'll have to watch the whole video to find out what went down. But you might have seen updates on my Instagram if you follow that. If you don't, henry.taylor. All pictures are up there from the show, updates on how I got on, updates on my thoughts, and kind of how the day went and everything, or the weekend. But I will do a full update later on in the video. I'm actually going to film it after this, after I've done the intro segment, and then just put it later in the video, because today we're going to run through this high day. So put in perspective, yesterday was show day. Obviously after show day we finished competing at around, we got in the car to leave at like midday, maybe like 12:30, I think. I don't really know, but it was definitely midday. Which also gives you kind of the whole day to do what you want. We had a big drive home. We had like a 5 or 6 hour drive home, so obviously that was a big part of it. But we ended up eating a few things yesterday. So I ended up having actually 6 meals, which was quite good. So I didn't miss a beat even on show day in terms of meals. I always try and hit 6 meals on show day, because obviously you're having bits in the morning, 1 or 2 meals to get you through till stage, and then post show I always like to kind of fill up on decent food, like my normal prep type food, but just higher amounts of it before I kind of tackle like an off-plan meal. If I was to go straight in after competing into an off-plan meal, it wouldn't really end well in terms of eating too much and binging. We had 5 guys on the way home. Got home around 6 p.m. And I literally just made some chicken fajitas. So I had chicken peppers, what are they called? Refried beans, as like a mix. Then did guacamole, sour cream, salsa, cheese, gem lettuce, tortilla wraps, and I only managed to get in 3 tortilla wraps, which was a poor effort from me. So I've got loads of chicken left over, which I'm gonna have today actually, which will be quite nice, to be fair. But a poor effort. The stomach is just so small when you go through prep, especially like when you start depleting and doing all the things pre-stage, pre-comp. In peak week, the stomach just goes right down to nothing. So, because obviously you're trying to mitigate any sort of midsection distension for stage, so you want your midsection and stomach to be as small as possible, really. And then obviously filling up afterwards is important, but it's important not to get into that binging habit, which I have done in the past. My first show I did left me in a poor state, so I kind of learned from that. And like I said, fill up on decent food. So I had, right after stage, before the 5 guys, I made one of my rice meals. The rice, peanut butter, jam, whey, which is my favourite meal. It feels like favourite meal ever, but I'm still on prep. So, but that went down. So I'd like I made 200 before we went out in the morning. Before stage, I obviously brought my rice cooker to the hotel and filled up 400 grams dry weight jasmine rice for 2 meals. And so that was ready when I got back. It was kept warm. All I had to do was put it in my Tupperwares and add the peanut butter jam and whey on top, and done, dusted, bit of salt. So I had that before the 5 guys in the car. I think I also had 2 blondies as well, because they were left over and just in the bag, so I was like, they kind of need to be eaten. And I had the stomach for it then. Went to 5 guys on the way home, 2 burgers, regular fries, standard order. Drove back home, and then I just had the fajitas, and kind of called it a night, to be honest. So woke up obviously heavier this morning from yesterday's food, but it's absolutely fine. It's just water retention. That is literally all it is after show. You know, you'll wake up and your weight will be up if you do eat, but you need to know that it's obviously not fat. It takes longer than a night to gain fat, really, so it's kind of just water retention from the salt. And obviously I hydrated quite a lot yesterday as well, so trying to flush the water and kind of continue that process of flushing out so that we don't hold on to too much water. Anyway, that's kind of yesterday. I said I was going to do it. I will do an update just about the whole show and everything, but that was kind of the food update from yesterday. Just finishing off my black coffee and only go cold. Anyway, today, high day. That's what we're running. So I'm getting the macros up here now because they're on my sheets. So today we are running 260 grams of protein, 890 grams of carbs, and 100 gram of fat. Take you through other variables: 1.5 gram pink salt on each meal, 6 litres, 4 gram of vitamin C, and just 8,000 steps today, no cardio. Cardio will be put back in tomorrow, as tomorrow's a normal standard day in prep, where food gets reduced. Food will be down tomorrow to 250 protein, 220 carb, 25 fat. So I've enjoyed, obviously, carbon up. You know, I've had decent food now since Thursday. Today's Sunday, because obviously carbon up Thursday, Friday. Yesterday, a bit more food. Today is more of like a relaxed day and just refresh. So my fats were Thursday, fats were 100. Friday fats were 260. That's the day before show, because obviously I had 5 normal high carb day meals, and then the last meal we had ribeye steak, 600 gram of fries, and a blondie. That was before bed, and then we just dried out through the night and woke up on show day, and that was that. Like I said, fats today 100, and then back down to 25 gram of fat tomorrow. So the one thing this prep that I've missed so much has been my fats. They've never gone as low as 25 gram. I think in my last prep they went down to about 40, if not 30. You know, but 25 grams is low. The only additional amounts of fat I do on those days is like 7 grams of peanut butter, where at the moment I'm doing like 40 gram peanut butter each meal, pretty much. So yeah, going to run you through today, basically show you how to not binge, and how to manage post-show the best you can. And I think the main thing, obviously, you know, Luke and myself had a chat yesterday. Luke knows my mindset with things. I love getting back on plan. I love having a plan. I kind of get a bit lost when I don't have one. Like sometimes when we've done shows, Luke will just say, eat what you want for a week, or kind of, you know, don't feel like you have to track. He won't give me a meal plan, but I've been quite specific on asking for a meal plan this time around, because I want to know. I just need to kind of execute and not have to think. When I start thinking, I start stressing, and that's kind of when I'll start adding little things in, and you know, just because there's no target, there's no goal. I need something to hit each meal. I need everything weighed out still. That's just what I'm like. So we got a full, Luke did me a plan yesterday in the car, on the way home. We had a chat about what I wanted to eat today, because it was a bit more of like a flexible day in terms of meals, but obviously giving me a high day. So we had a chat, went through what meals I wanted, and I was basically just keep that rice meal that I talked about before. So I think I've got 2 or 3 of those meals. I've just had meal 1, which I'll show you after this, and then we are running an off-plan meal tonight. So I'm going to get, I think, a Nashville cluck. I'm going to see how today's food goes down, to be fair, see how I feel, and if I feel like it's needed, or that I'm still really hungry by the end of the day, then I'll put it in. But you know, sometimes I feel like with these days you feel a sense of that you have to have an off-plan meal, and that's really not the case. You don't have to do anything. Obviously, we want to get food back in. We want to get enough food back in so that we can kind of push training tomorrow, because we've still got 2 weeks left of prep. So, well, we're 14 days out now. So we've got more than enough time to bring body weight down if it goes up. You know, so if you want to have an off-plan meal after a show, you know, there's nothing stopping you from that. But again, if you don't, there's nothing stopping you from not having one. You know, don't feel like you have to have one. But if you are going to eat, I would recommend kind of upping those calories on the show day afterwards, and at least getting some decent food in at a high volume just to refill and recover. You know, because you've been on stage, you've basically trained, because posing like we do on stage for that amount of time, especially yesterday, I'll go through that again later, but especially like we did yesterday, it's a lot, and it takes a lot on the body, and you know, you haven't eaten much. I drank 200 ml of water yesterday morning before stage, which is obviously nothing. So hydration is very, very important, but also putting some good food in is also important as well. So we'll see how we get on today. I'll probably end up having it because I'm a foodie and a fat kid at heart, but we'll see. So that'll be my last meal, which will be the off plan. But yeah, you know, today, you know, just to talk a bit about the whole binging thing. It's unnecessary. It doesn't need to take place. For me, I always choose foods that I know fill me up. And like I said before, I always have a basic meal post show. The first thing I eat is a basic meal. So I would never kind of come off stage and go straight to Five Guys or go straight to a restaurant, because you are going to eat too much. Try and fill up on good food and then go out and have something to eat, because you're less likely to order the whole menu. You've kind of got to find something clean that kind of stunts the hunger and gives you satisfaction in terms of cravings. So whether it's a sweet meal like a big cream of rice meal with loads of whey paste and jam and peanut butter, that's great, you know, and then go out and eat. So I would recommend that on show day. Post show, obviously it depends what situation you're in terms of, like, this is obviously not my last show of the season, so you know, I'm not going to go balls to the wall with food right now anyway. But if it was my end of the season, I still would do the exact same that I'm doing today, with kind of just getting back on plan, maybe at a higher calorie level, like I'm doing 890 gram of carbs today, which is lower than what my actual high days are. But so just to give you calories perspective, 5,500 calories today. And my high days pre-stage, the 2 days pre-stage, were 6,400, and then the day before show was 8,460 calories. So it's slightly lower than both of those. Actually, no, I'm lying, because today's macros, what I've just read out, the 5,500, is actually just my base food. So I'll have a natural cook on top of that. So it probably work out to be about maybe like 7,000 calories today, but still lower than what I did the day before show day. So yeah, you just got to see what situation you're in. Obviously you kind of want to get back on plan as soon as possible post show, but at the same time you still want to enjoy yourself. You know, you've done 20 weeks, 24 weeks of prep, which, you know, have been grueling, and you deserve to eat out. You deserve to, you know, sorry, Luke's just sending me pictures of food. You deserve to enjoy yourself a bit, but also just know that you don't have to binge. You don't have to buy everything in the shop. Try not to go to the shop hungry as well. Try and eat a meal, wait 20 minutes, and then go to the shop. Little things like that do actually help, because obviously with cravings, you're gonna want everything in the shop, in the biscuit aisle, in, you know, the cake aisle, pastries. It's all there, and it's all unfortunately, bad food is really cheap. So you're like, it's only £1 for 4 donuts. You know, it's like, it's nothing. It's easy to pick up, you know. But I would really advise getting a plan set up on show day so that you have it on your phone when you wake up post show, literally, so that you can follow it. And make sure you put foods in there that you enjoy, foods that you want. Like I've just had avocado with my first meal. I've wanted avocado in my first meal with the eggs for many weeks. So that has kind of given me some satisfaction, and it's avocado, you know. So it's just little things like that do really help. I've just talked for 15 minutes. We're going to get on with the day. I'm going to show you today's 6 meals, show you what I do post-show. So I've basically just told you how to manage it. But I'm going to show you what kind of meals I'm having. They're pretty boring, but the things I enjoy, and they're pretty clean as well, except for the Nashville Cluck, but the meal 6. But we'll go through today. Hopefully this helps anyone kind of maybe struggling with post-show or becoming a bit anxious with the thought of post-show, because it is quite anxiety driven, and you're sometimes you can get quite lost in the fact that prep's finished and maybe your season's finished and you don't know what to do afterwards. You know, like I said, your coach might say, just have a few days off. That for some people can be an absolute nightmare and stress city. So you will turn to food just to eat because you don't know what's going on. So if you do have a coach, ask for a post-show plan on show day or a few days before show day. You know, there's no harm in the coach sending over a little plan a few days before your show, which will be your post-show food if you need it, if you think that's going to help. Personally, I think it helps massively. It will keep you on track. It will keep you accountable. And for, you know, if you're someone like myself who doesn't like not knowing what's going to happen, or you like things planned out in advance, get it done for sure. But we'll crack on with today, and we'll see you. Well, I'll show you meal 1 now after this, and then we'll see if the next meal's across the day. So meal 1, guys, going down. First meal post show, we have 3 sourdough, 2 sourdough on this plate, 4 poached eggs, avocado, bacon medallions under there somewhere, and then I've got my other 2 sourdough with 50 grams of jam, and of course black Americano. First meal going down, and then catch you for meal 2. Meal 2 going down. This is like one of my typical pre-show, show day rice meals going down. So 125 gram dry weight jasmine rice, 30 grams jam, 20 grams peanut butter. And then also for this meal, we've got a muffin, if I can get it. So on the plan, Luke said go and get a McDonald's muffin, one we've used before. We used it on my high days the day before show day, which worked well, but I'm like the closest one for me is like half an hour away. So I thought I'd just grab one from the shop when I was there this morning, which will be fine. So that is meal number 2. 4 more meals left. Just gonna chill, relax, probably have a nap at some point. And you know, use today as like a recovery day. Get ready for tomorrow's leg day. So we'll see you in a bit. Meal 3 going down, guys. Food has hit me pretty hard today. Just a high amounts of food, I think, coming off the back of yesterday as well, with food being fairly on the high end, and the days prior with the loads. I'm not really fussed about food anymore, because food's just been quite high for the last 4 days. So meal 3 going down, we're doing oat pancakes. So I've got 150 grams of oats, 1 scoop of whey. I might actually cut these down On the sheet it says 50 grams of peanut butter, 50 grams of jam. I might just do 25 grams of each. I don't feel like I need any more than that. Like I said, you don't have to eat post-show. You know, this is a plan put in for me. It doesn't mean I have to like follow it to an absolute T. If I find that my appetite's just not there, and you know I don't want kind of the amounts, then I'll just reduce. Because the goal over the next couple of days anyway is to get body weight down. So it's kind of what we're looking at. But oat pancakes. In the pancakes themselves, they've obviously got 150 grams of oats, half a scoop of whey because I'm going to do a whey paste on top, 5 grams of baking powder, a bit of sweetener, and blueberries. So that is this meal. I'll show you the end result when we're done. On to meal number 4, guys. So I've decided not to have one of my meals, which was meal number 4. So we're just doing 5 meals today, which includes the off-plan meal. I just didn't want to force down food, and that's what it would have been. So it was only Cocoa Pops. So it would have been 200 gram of Cocoa Pops with whey. So that's the meal I've taken out. So we're on to like meal number, what would have been meal number 5, but it's meal number 4 now. Actually going around to see the parents. So obviously taking this meal with me. I've got 150 grams of chicken from my fajitas last night that I did. So I had some chicken saved left over, so it's got pretty decent with peppers and refried beans on there. And then we've got a big old portion of rice and jam. So 200 grams dry weight jasmine rice, 100 grams of jam, 1.5 gram pink salt. And then I'm also going to do 2 square bars as well. And this will be my meal before the off-plan meal tonight, which I obviously will show you. But it just gives it a bit more time to kind of bring back some appetite. Like I said, I think just the fact of having 4 days of pretty high food, it's kind of catching up with me. So I'm looking forward to some low food tomorrow. Get that sorted. But yeah, we'll go and do this now. And then once I have my last meal in front of me, I will show you what the scope is. So we'll see you then. Right then, meal 6. Final meal going down. I'm gonna take you through what we got. So Nashville. This was my go-to in the off season. I would switch between. This and Five Guys. If I had like 2 high days a week, I'd always have an off-plan meal at the end of the day on my high day, and I'd do 1 Five Guys and 1 Nashville, because one's beef burger, one's chicken burger. So this for me is the best chicken burger that I've ever had. Plus they do other things as well, so we're going to go through that. But I'm going to show you what I've got. So these are the same. Give us some space. Let's start with these. So I've got the loaded fries. These are unreal. I've had them once before. So obviously you've got fries underneath. See if I can show you without taking everything out. Fried chicken on top. And then their Nashville sauce on top as well. That's a big old portion. That'll be insane. And then it comes to the burger, which, like I said, is one of the best chicken burgers that I've ever had. Let's see which way it turns out. It might not look as good because it's always been travelled with, but you won't be able to get the gist of this. I can pick it. The size of this piece of chicken. There we go. Doesn't actually look that good on camera, but there we go. With their special sauce in the middle, quality. And then we've got these mac and cheese croquettes as well. So little croquettes with macaroni cheese inside. So that's what we're working with, guys. And I'm gonna eat this and then we will sign off. Right guys, it's currently Tuesday today, so we are 3 days post-show. So I was gonna do a little update on kind of the day on Saturday. I try not to keep it too long because I know you just watched the post-show food that went down. We are currently day 2 into not really digging again, but kind of just getting some water off, really. So macros for the last 2 days, or yesterday and today, have been 350 protein, 50 gram of carb, 60 gram of fat. So we're going high fat, high protein, low carb for the foreseeable, just to bring some water off, because obviously food was, like I explained, food was high from Thursday to Sunday, just from the high days, and then we ran a high day on the Sunday as well, which you saw. I think it was Sunday, yeah, on the Sunday, which you saw, and then Monday we were back down to low food. So that's the plan for the kind of next few days, just to see body weight come back down. So nothing major going on right now, but the show, it was such a good weekend. Probably my favorite weekend in terms of bodybuilding to date, to be honest. Just the whole experience from, you know, I think a lot of it comes down to the people that you're with and people that are around you. And for me, it was Luke, obviously my very, very close friend, best friend, and obviously coach, and his girlfriend as well, which was nice. She drove us actually, so 5 or 6 hour drive there, 5 or 6 hour drive back. Luke and myself were able to kind of nap when we wanted to, because obviously we were driving through nap time for both of us, because we're kind of 3 a.m, 4 a.m. get-ups. So we tend to have a nap kind of mid-morning, early afternoon, and we were kind of in sync in terms of napping on the way there. So very grateful for Chantel, who drove us and took time out of her weekend to do that for us, and just kind of look after us for the weekend, which was nice. But just the overall experience of the show, being my first two-bro show, it was Luke's first two-bro show as well. So it was a new experience for us both. And obviously that comes with a bit of anxiety. I'm not a massive fan of change or change of routine, change of environment. And that was a big change, you know, especially when it comes down to bodybuilding. I'm very much someone who, probably like a lot of you, every day is exactly the same routine, same gym, same food, same, you know, everything is very much exactly the same. That's how I like it, you know, my creature of habit. You know, so go out to my comfort zone, you know, driving down to Essex. I haven't been to Essex before. Going to a different venue. I haven't been there before. Meeting different people. Competing on a different stage, different federation, different judges, different way of how the day planned out in terms of their structure of how they run their shows, which was impeccable, by the way. Even down to the girls of Protan looking after us, and just the service that they provided was exceptional. We basically drove down on the what day was it? Friday. Yeah, Friday. There was a crash on one of the motorways. Took us longer than expected. Took us 6 hours. And obviously we had a time booking for Tan for base coat, which we missed. we had to miss, and we only managed to get to registration. So I'm glad we actually got to registration, but we didn't have time to do base coat on Friday, so we had to then do base coat and top coat on Saturday morning, and glaze obviously, in the space of a few hours, and they were more than happy to accommodate for that, which we were very grateful for. It just makes their service, you know, that much better. You know, if they'd kind of declined us and said no, we can't do base coat and top coat on the same day, obviously that would have thrown a few things, but they were very much there to assist and help us with that. So, you know, that helped a lot. Took a bit of stress off us. We were able to just come in Saturday morning early and get them boxed off. And then the show. Luke was on first. He did 2 novice classes, I think. Won them both. So another 2 wins for Luke, which is insane. I think he's on 5 out of 5 now, which is quality, unbeaten for the season. Such a good season. I'm very happy for him, very proud to be his athlete and also his friend, and watch him go through this season as well, like in front of my eyes. You know, me being the first person who's season come off stage after a win is just, there's nothing that compares to that moment of seeing someone just win and someone take down another show, and see the look on their face, you know, when they come off literally fresh off stage. Yeah, you can't buy it. You've got to be there to watch it unfold, which was really nice. So I got to witness that, and then obviously with myself, first one out. So there was 16 guys in my class in my first regional. So really putting myself in the deep end here this weekend, but I'm so glad I did. I'm so glad that it was a stacked lineup, or a big lineup. I know people don't really like to call it like a stacked lineup or whatever, but it was a big lineup, and there was a lot of big guys up there. Me being the youngest, me also being the tallest guy up there, amongst the giants, which was good. Such a good experience, and to be able to just stand with them on stage and kind of not look out of place was a win for me. And I was just very happy for the whole day. Really, I was in a very good mood, in a different mindset, in a different mood than what I've been like in the past. And what I've been like in the past is very much blinkers on, very much war mentality, very much don't talk to anyone, just focus on trying to win. And I think the fact that I kind of knew I wasn't going to win before I went, if that makes sense, just based on who I knew was competing, the level and standard of these guys that were competing. You know, these guys are fighting for pro cards, and I'm just not there in my bodybuilding career yet to be doing that. A lot of these guys were probably 5 to 8 years older than me, which obviously, you know, is plays a big role. You got to think of, you know, if someone's got an extra 5 to 8 years of training years on you, or stage experience, it's a lot of time, and it's a lot of progress that they've got that you don't have yet. So I'm just kind of behind in terms of a time standpoint, and also that comes with a maturity standpoint. It comes with muscle maturity, density, thickness, size. All these factors play a part, and these are the things that these guys had that I didn't. So, you know, for me, obviously, it was nice to kind of go and enjoy, and it just experience the experience. I placed 7th, so I placed 7th out of 16, which actually, to be honest, I'm very much over the moon with and made up with that. To beat that many guys who, again, like I said, are very much seasoned competitors who have probably been in that class for a long time, trying to fight for like a top 5 spot. And I've kind of come in and put my foot in the door in terms of the presence. So I'm very, very happy with the placing, with how big the lineup was and who was in the lineup as well. There wasn't someone who was out of place. There wasn't someone who was not on in terms of condition. There wasn't someone who was down in size or anything, or missed their peak. Everyone was kind of on. So, you know, for me to get that placing in that group of athletes was satisfying for me, and a very good day. You know, I'm happier with that placing than I was with the second that I got a few weeks ago. So that just puts it into perspective. Mainly because Two Bros is a show where eventually, you know, that they'll give me my pro card, eventually. But though, you know, the judges there are the ones that are gonna do that. And so now I've been able to stand in front of them for the first time. They get to have a look at me. Hopefully I made a standpoint for the first time. And it's only going to benefit me later on when I compete again at Two Bros, because they'll see me again, much improved, heavier, bigger, denser, thicker, and that's gonna play a big role. You know, so a very, very good weekend all in all. Very happy with the result and very happy with the look that we brought as well. You know, the peak that we did, I think I say this all the time with peaks. I always say it's been the best one we've done, but honestly, like the more time we've done peak weeks and peaking and show days, the better the peaks get, the more smooth the peaks get. We've never really had a bad peak, but obviously, like, you know, your first one of the season is not going to be as good as the last one of the season, because you're kind of learning the body for that prep, learning how the body's working for that year. You know, every prep you do and every peak you do will be completely different. Now the peaks in the season, if you're doing a few shows back to back, will probably look pretty much the same for that 1 year. But when you're going from doing a show in 2 years ago to a show now, it's going to be very different in terms of how you peak, what you do for that peak, what foods you use for that peak. You know, everything is kind of different. So with that being my second show for the season, it was good. It was nice. I was very happy with the look and the fullness. The condition was there. Everything was there. You know, we didn't really miss a mark, and there's nothing what I'm trying to say is that there's nothing else that we could have done in terms of bringing a better package. We brought the best we could for that day. You know, I don't think, you know, you ask yourself the questions of, like, you know, could you have been fuller? Probably not. It would have washed out some condition. Could I be more conditioned? No. Because you've got to have a balance in open heavyweights of condition and fullness and size. You know, if you weigh too much down on the condition, you'll lose the pop. If you go too much on the fullness, you'll lose condition. So you've got to find that right balance, and it's not easy. And I think, you know, we nailed that part of it. And there's nothing more that we could have done, you know, which makes me feel very content, and which is probably why I was smiling on stage and just happy to be there, because I knew every single bit of work has been done. You know, no stone has been left unturned ever. And I always make a point on that, because if I ever missed a mark, or if I ever, I don't know, cheated on my diet or didn't hit my steps for the day or missed a cardio session, I wouldn't want to step on stage. I don't understand how people can step on stage when they've missed marks and be happy with the presentation that they bring, you know, and then question why they came second or third. But it's because of the things you did in prep, where you cheated, where you messed up, where you did this. You know, I'm always someone who nails every single part of the plan to an absolute T, and that's the only way I can do it in terms of getting on stage. If I didn't, like I said, I wouldn't compete. Honestly, I wouldn't be able to stand on stage and be like, yeah, I brought my best package. If I'd left things on the table in prep, I couldn't do it. So yeah, very happy with the look, very happy with the placing, and that just, you know, I would have been happy just to wrap the season up there, to be honest, and leave it on a very big high, to be honest. But we are currently 13 days out now. I think 13 days out from finals. So obviously I'm looking forward to that. It's always a good show. I've done it every year since I started competing. So this will be the third time on that stage, I think. No, second. Is it the second time? I don't think I did it the first time. Yeah, second time. We did it in 2023, and then doing it this year as well. So that will be my last show of the season for me, and then it'll be back down to the grind, back down to the drawing board. And you know, we already know, we've had chats, Luke and myself, about what needs doing. I'm sure we'll have a more in-depth chat once prep is finished, because Luke is still in prep himself. He's still got like 2 or 3 shows left to do, which is insane, but good on him, I say. You know, he's absolutely smashed it this year, and there's no, you know, you might as well go full board, you know, when you're doing well, and just kind of take it on the chin, even though it is a lot. And you know, he's in like 3 different finals, which is crazy, but you got to make the most of it. I think this is his last year in novice as well, so after this year he can't actually do novice again, so you might as well go all out and then relax afterwards. So he's got like three weeks left in prep. I've got 2. So, you know, my plan is to actually continue my prep until he finishes his prep, and then we'll kind of enjoy some food after that together, which would be nice, and actually have a proper sit down and chat about the season and kind of take everything in. But yeah, that was the weekend. Sorry to kind of ramble on. This could have been an extra video, but here we are. I'd rather get all the information out, and I'm sure there's someone who is interested. If not, this is, you know, I do these YouTube videos a lot for myself as well. Sometimes I will go back and watch previous preps, and I like to kind of rejig the memory of what the season was like for myself, and do it, you know, document my journey, and use this platform as more like a journal for me, really. And if people want to watch, they want to watch. If they don't, they don't. So, but yeah, we'll leave it there. Hopefully I didn't really forget anything. I'm sure there's a few things that I did, but overall, very, very good. If you're wanting to do kind of a 2-bro show, I definitely recommend it, for sure. Very, very good and respected federation, and we will be back, so I'm looking forward to that. But head down now for the next 2 weeks. 1 week left of kind of digging, then we go into peak week, which will probably be more digging, but and then probably do another peak week, to be honest. I quite like doing those daily videos, and setting things out in that sense. But yeah, we'll catch up at some point, I'm sure, and I'll take you through. But just to let you know that, you know, these next couple of days are pretty boring. Nothing much is going on until kind of peak week happens, and obviously we go into like depletion high days and all that kind of stuff. So I will pick up the camera at some point along the way, if I find there's something that needs to be said. But no, guys, appreciate you guys watching. Hopefully you took something from this video as well in terms of managing post-show. It's an important one. I think it's one that can especially if you're finishing for the season, one that can determine how well your off season is going to go literally in the first few days post show, of how you manage that. If you go balls to the wall with food, if you just forget about everything bodybuilding related and every bit of willpower you have, the off season is going to be very hard for you because of the start you're having. Just remember, it takes twice, if not 3 times as long to get back that condition once it's gone. So, you know, you can indulge for a day or two. It's probably going to take over a week or 2 to get that condition back, and you would have to diet and do cardio as well. So just be aware of that when you're post show, and try and manage it the best you can. Food isn't going to go anywhere. You know, you can still have your off-plan meals. Just make sure, I think the biggest takeaway is make sure you have a plan in place, you know, a day before you're competing, of what your post-show food is going to look like, just from a mental clarity standpoint. If you have nothing to look at and nothing to go off for post-show, it's going to be very hard to stay on plan, and you'll probably go off plan because you just don't know where you are. So definitely recommend that. If you have any questions or queries about that, or you want to have a chat about things regarding post-show, then send us a DM, drop a comment on the bottom here, or a DM on Instagram at henry.taylor. I'd be more than happy to have a chat about that. But until then, we'll see you soon.